Before this class, I had not put a lot of thought into how language and literacy is learned. For me, I learned how to talk, learned how to read, learned how to write, and that was it. But this class has opened my eyes to the many dimensions and layers that learning and teaching language and literacy involve. When asked to reflect on my own perspective, now, I find myself conflicted with having to choose only one perspective. After reflecting on my experiences in this class and with the readings, the one main thing that I have taken away is that knowledge is a process, constantly changing as we learn from each other. This would place me in the social constructivist perspective. This is represented here through the two arms encompassing different people, because I seek in social constructivism as involving a little bit of all the different perspectives. The children inside the arms represent all the children in any given classroom and the funds of knowledge that they bring to the classroom with them. Their knowledge and subsequent learning will be emotional, social, and physical, as well as cognitive, which is also a big part of social constructivism. I believe that children are dynamic, interactive, individual human beings and should be treated as such. Our job as teachers is to provide students with the tools which are to express themselves in their own individuality, in this case through language and literacy. Life, after all, is a social interactive experience that is co-constructed, and if we aren't preparing them for life, well then what are we doing? Before I was a writer or even a reader, I was a drawer. My mom says that when I was little, I would demand a drawing of something. Draw me a mermaid, draw me a horse, and then I would promptly scribble all over a picture, explaining that I was adding the rain and the wind and the flowers and somebody's uncle. My mom, being the artist that she is, was delighted and encouraged my scribblings from an early age. As I got older, I realized that drawing made writing easier. It was easier to express myself, and when I was in a situation where I couldn't find the words, I would draw what I wanted and this made the words come easier. A social constructivist would say that learning is negotiating multiple perspectives of text. Spending time learning a visual language affected how I understood other literacies. This is similar to the kids in the comic video that we watched in class. In contrast, my experience with learning language and oral language has been greatly influenced by my traveling. I have had the privilege to have experienced many different cultures over the years, and this has influenced me with regards to language. Trying to navigate yourself in a country where you don't speak the language forces you to appreciate the differences in the language, and made me realize that effective language learning is social. It also emphasized the importance of the environment in which you are acquiring language. In class, we talked about the idea of immersion, which is a learning condition that refers to the state of being saturated by, enveloped in, flooded by, steeped in, or constantly bathed in that which is to be learned. It is my belief that effective language acquisition only results from the immersion in that language, emotionally, socially, cognitively, and physically. My experiences as an artist and a traveler have led me to the conclusion that language and literacy acquisition is a co-constructed process. We as humans are social by nature, and it is how we develop our own understanding of the world, by talking and discussing and asking questions. Asking questions is not an individual process, and the more questions we ask, the more we know. I realize that most of the experiences that I have drawn on are not academic, but I see this as an even more proof that as a social constructivist, it's a beneficial way to teach. Life is not academic, and if we can teach the skills that will help us outside the classroom, inside the classroom, then we'll be on our way to a brighter future.
Mesho sasa sabona nat yes qala sabezwa ngisho mama saze sabona nathi baba akulo bhalo baliwe madoda mama saze sabona nathi mama bantu bakithi masilandeleni nathi lenkanyezi ngoba yalandelwa izazi ngoba yalandelwa inhlakanipho ngoba yalandelwa wochwepheshe basemandulo mama oh baba saqala sabeza nathi saze sabona nathi oh baba foreign 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 beautiful rain don't disturb me beautiful rain oh come never come.
Reflection is essential for the teacher because, like everything else in this world, our perspectives are ever-changing. This is demonstrated through 3 mirrors which represent our original perspectives. Then the mirrors get broken and each new piece represents a new idea or perspective that influences our own, until you review your original perspective and find that it looks nothing like what you started with.
Oh, come, never come, oh, come, never come, oh, come to me, beautiful rain. When the sun says goodnight to the mountain, I am dreaming of the sun, said goodnight. When the sun says goodnight to the mountain, I am dreaming of the sun, said goodnight.